Now let us look at when does royalty or FTS arise under the Act. Now, one of the conditions for taxation of royalty is that it should arise in India, right? Interestingly, whether or not a royalty arise, insofar as royalty and FTS is concerned, is determined more by who is the payer, right? And for these purposes, both royalty and FTS, the payers have been classified into three categories. One is the government. Second is a person who is a resident in India. And obviously residency has to be seen as per the Income Tax Act because we are dealing with the Act provision. And the third is a person who is a non-resident in India. So let us concentrate on the first one for now. Suppose there is a payment which is made by the Indian government to a foreign company, which is in the nature of royalty or FTS. In such a case, the rule is that such a payment is always going to arise in India. The second example could be of a royalty or FTS for which the payments are by a person who is resident in India. So think of a situation, there could be two cases over here. A resident is carrying on a business in India, right? For this business, he makes a payment of royalty or FTS to a non-resident. Second could be he has an overseas business and the payment for royalty or FTS is made in respect of this business overseas. The rules for taxation of royalty or FTS in respect of Indian business and the overseas business needs to be distinguished. Within section 916 and 917, it's specifically provided that whenever the payment is made by a person who is a resident in India, normally such royalty or FTS would always arise in India, right? But there are certain exceptions to this rule. In respect of royalty, bullet 1 to 3 applies, which means all of them are applicable. For FTS, bullet 2 and 3 are applicable, which means that for FTS only the blue part is applicable. So in respect of royalty, it shall not always arise in India when, if it is paid for any right, property or information used for business, profession outside India. If this resident was carrying on a business outside India and the reason why the royalty is paid is because this payment is for any right, property or information which was used for a business or a profession outside India, then such royalty will not be treated as arising in India, even though the payment might have been made by a resident. Second, services utilized for business profession outside India. If for this overseas business, I am taking the services from the foreign company, the payment for that is not going to get qualified for arising in India or for making or earning any income from any source outside India. If this resident makes any income outside India, right, and for the purpose of earning that income, it's making a payment of royalty or FTS, right? In that case, those royalty or FTS would not be treated as arising in India, right? And the third and the final one is royalty or FTS arising in respect of payments by non-resident. So suppose there's a non-resident, he makes a payment of royalty or FTS to another foreign company. right? Even though it is a payment between two non-resident, even this can be deemed to arise in India, right? The general rule is this does not arise in India unless it is payable only when payable for, again, for royalty, bullet number 3, 1 to 3, for FTS, bullet 2 and 3, right? There's just the opposite. In the previous one, when the payment was made by a resident, we said it is always arising in India. In case of non-resident, it is never arising in India. In case of resident, we said it does not arise in the exception. In this case, the exceptions are to the fact that it never arises in India. So the cases are if it is paid for any right, property, or information used for business or profession in India. So suppose you are carrying on the business of, let's say, drilling of oil, and you actually take an oil rig from a foreign company on rent. So this oil rig is stationed in India, right? The Indian business rents this oil rig from the foreign company, and the non-resident makes a payment of rent to this foreign company. Even this shall be deemed to accrue or arise in India because it is paid for business or profession in India. Second, services utilized for business or profession in India. So suppose, take an example here. If there is a design or drawing services which are being rendered by the Indian business, it subcontracts a part of it to a foreign company. And for the subcontracting, the payment is made directly by the non-resident, right? So in case there are payments for services, I'm not talking about the payments for the use of a design. In fact, even those can be covered over here. But for services which are utilized for business or profession in India, this is treated as arising in India. Now, there will obviously be other conditions that you will need to see whether this is taxable. And third is making or earning any income from any source in India. If this non-resident does anything else in India from which he wants to earn some income, and in order to earn that income, if there is a foreign company which provides services or provides assets, services, FTS, assets, royalty, then even if payments are made directly here, they will be treated as arising in India. In all other cases, payments by non-resident are not treated as arising in India.